This is a mystery puzzling northeastern Colorado. For weeks now, drones have been spotted flying at night.
Homeowners are concerned, local authorities don't know where these drones are coming from, and no one wants to own up to flying them.
These 7 counties have all launched investigations into the mystery drones, including Yuma, Morgan, and Wells County.
I started walking to it and it left. It saw me.
Who will solve the mystery in the night?
You guys, welcome back to Conspiracy Files. Or should I say, the very first episode of the Conspiracy Files. As always, you can call me Zero. I'm really happy you guys are here today. Thanks for tuning in once again. We're going to talk about something a little offbeat, a new topic. It's really, really strange, honestly. I've done a lot of research into this, and I still can't figure out what the hell is going on. We're going to talk about mysterious swarms of giant drones. They've started to show up in Colorado, Nebraska. Military source says they're in a couple other places as well, but that's not the problem, really. The problem is that nobody knows where the hell they're coming from. So, let's get into this. So, I just want to go ahead and put this out there that if you guys have listened to one of the Dateline podcasts narrated by Keith Morrison, it's called The Thing About Pam, I realized in doing this that I'm really good at doing impressions of voices. And I really feel like reading part of this intro to the Colorado Mysterious Drones in the voice of Keith Morrison, but I'm not going to do the whole thing. He's the guy who does The Thing About Pam, and he has a really weird, unique voice. And if you've listened to The Thing About Pam, you'll hear it, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you who don't know, don't worry about it. But he kind of sounds like he's got a really well-rounded voice. Mine's pretty deep. But Keith Morrison kind of sounds like this. He has these weird inflections with his voice. Up and down. Reading words from a script. Making you feel right at home. Which also kind of plays into like a Morgan Freeman kind of voice. Which is kind of hard to do. I haven't practiced it a lot. I like doing the Morgan Freeman voice. We'll get into all that stuff later, but check this out. This is my opening monologue for this. It all started on December 26th, 2019. Residents in Lincoln County began seeing mysterious drones, part of a wave of drones that invaded rural Nebraska and Colorado. The story, filled with mystery, seized the nation's attention. Dozens of drones were reported by residents, and law enforcement officers confirmed 24 sightings, while leaving civilians baffled. That's pretty good. You gotta admit that's like a 10 out of 10. But anyway, so what we got going on here, you guys, is that it started in rural Colorado. Started out this is the craziest thing. It's the craziest thing because nobody knows where it's coming from. Nobody knows who's doing it, and everybody's denied liability. Everybody. And it's just absolutely crazy. There have been, at the time of my research, there were 24 sightings, but I think now it's up to 30 or 36, and they're all over smaller places like Phillips and Yuma counties. It's just absolutely nuts. And these aren't handheld drones. These drones, they're so mysterious. They really are, though. They're not the handheld drones that you would go and get at Walmart. These drones they have a wingspan of 5 to 6 feet, and people know for a fact who fly these things for a career, that these drones can start out at $10,000, and they're seeing 30 of these at a time, at least a couple dozen at a time. And it starts out, it just happens all of a sudden. There's just one day they're not there, the next day they are, and nobody knows why the hell they're there. And so naturally people are going to freak out. So residents of Philla and Yuma counties have repeatedly seen up to 17 drones at a time, and they're only between the hours of 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. And that's it, and then they're gone. The drones have wingspans of up to 5 or 6 feet, fly between 30 and 40 miles per hour when they do fly, if they're not hovering, and are equipped with either red, white, green, or blue, or all of them, as navigation lights. The swarm, apparently as described by civilians and law enforcement, they fly in 25-mile grid squares with drones flying one square and then going to the next. So they're gridding out pieces of land and they're flying these squares. And then once they complete a square, they go on to the next square grid, and it's in a 25-mile span, and they're going between 30 and 40 miles per hour. So they're going to be easy to see. They're hard to make out because they're like some 500 to 600 feet up in the air. So that part makes it kind of tough. So far, law enforcement has been watching the drones. And from what they say the drones are unarmed and they don't appear threatening, and they're not doing anything that would give off a threatening vibe. They're not looking in windows. They're not hovering over places where they shouldn't be hovering. They're just kind of there. And that's the strangest part. People have called the police stations and reported this nightly as a nightly activity. But looking more into it, the FAA and Army both deny that the drones are even theirs. Local law enforcement is quite aware of the swarm, but they're stating typically that drone operators coordinate with them in order to avoid problems and probably unnecessary confusion and things like what are happening right now. So much like anything else that's kind of shrouded in mystery, rumors and conspiracies are running rampant. I put together a few theories of my own, one kind of off the wall, one kind of not off the wall, and then we'll lead it back. But this is really, really crazy. There's got to be a listener out there right now who works in the military, because I know that you guys love to listen to these podcasts, and I know that you guys love to listen to the stuff that civilians are interested in. So if you want to reach out to me, you're more than welcome to hit up the Twitter at @theconfiles, or you can email me at conspiracyfilesmail@gmail.com. Please, man, reach out to me. Give me some info. If you have any info that you can remain completely anonymous, reach out to me. Let me know what's going on with this, because typically you guys are going to know before we do. But it's absolutely nuts, man. Reports still come in, and they're still coming in daily. The public has no idea who's operating the drones or what they're even doing. All they know is that they're just hovering there. And it's gotten to the point now where officials from multiple local, state, and federal government agencies, they're investigating in this, and they haven't found anything out yet. And right now they're kind of... There's like 70 local, state, federal, and military officials. They met recently in Brush, Colorado. These are 10 to 15 separate agencies that all came together, and they formed a sort of like joint task force to help solve the mystery. And so far, they've come up with absolutely nothing. And that's nuts. It's really, really amazing. Of course, the people are going to run wild with it. And one of the weirdest ones that even makes a little bit of sense is it's that the Illuminati is looking for fresh ground to break. Sounds a little off the wall, but as you listen to it and you hear some of the evidence or you hear some of the claims, it's kind of founded in some reality. It's not that strange. And with Colorado's long-standing pot-friendly laws, obviously they were the first ones to do it, And Illinois is now coming around, Ohio, Michigan. I believe Kentucky's on board. Indiana's not, go figure. They're the last to do anything. I think that anybody who's trying to capitalize on that land, it's going to be the big marijuana pool, and, they found out that pool's a very, very big pool, and the water's nice, so they're just kind of cannonbonging in there. Pun, cannonbong. But it's speculated right now that pot farmers are looking into Kansas and Nebraska as areas of a next growing expansion. I know they're looking at some places in California too. Eastern Colorado is an additional and already legal ground. So the cannabis expansionists are doing it with drones so as not to make it look like they're interested and they want to drive up potential prices per acre. So that's why they're trying to fly in grid patterns, so they say, so they can get a lay of the land, see what the profit is like, and see where the best places to farm would be at, which would really make sense if you really think about it. And the other theory behind this is that the drones are being operated privately, since no government agency has come out and said jack shit about it or claimed anything about it. And some of the agencies that have been contacted, the FAA has absolutely no idea where these things are coming from. The Air Force, the DEA, the U.S. Army Forces Command all deny any responsibility. Homeland Security, NORAD, NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, they all deny it too. They say we have no idea. So you take the government route out of it, and you get to private companies. And one of the most prominent companies in drone technology is Excel Energy. They use them to inspect electricity and look for natural gas lines. They've been contacted, and they said in the past, years ago, they did fly drones, but they don't have these drones. I don't know what type of drones that they use, but they said these specifically that these civilians are finding, they do not own them. They are not theirs. So they're out of there. And several reporters have tried to reach out. They've been really, really adamant about it. They say they absolutely don't belong to us. They haven't flown any drones in that area in quite a few years. And I assume that since they're willing to give that much up, that means that they're probably letting the FAA know. So then it goes back to Amazon, Google, Alphabet, Black Swift Technology. But the problem is that they've also denied owning, possessing, or even flying these drones, these specific ones. Do they all use drones? Yes. Do they use these specific drones in this specific area? No. So what the hell? And looking at news source after news source and after news source, we still are left with no information. Of course, people that live out in these counties where your next neighbor is like a mile away from you, you see these things, you record it, you hear from your neighbors, yeah, I saw it too, yeah, I saw it too. Of course, you're going to speculate things. Of course, things are going to come up, and you're going to talk about these things. But coming from a logical perspective, I'm sure that they're doing some sort of geo-mapping, if I had to guess. These drones are very expensive. These drones can fly in the air for anywhere from like 6 to 8 hours. And then once they get low on battery power, they're usually set to fly back to the original destination. My question is, why hasn't anybody decided to follow one, since they know that they fly between 7 and 10 o'clock? Why not hang around till 9:50, spot one, follow it back to wherever it's going? Because law enforcement and government agencies haven't done that yet, and they haven't figured out where these drones get routed to. So I'm not so sure that they know any location of where these things are going to land, where they're housed, whatever. And there's no reports on it right now of anybody following the drones or anything of the sort. So, I mean, that's if that were me, that's what I would do. I would find one, make sure I had plenty of gas, and I would follow one. But again, that's just me. The other problem you're going to run into is you're going to have people that are going to want to shoot the things down to figure out where they come from. If you guys in Colorado are listening to this, do not shoot the drones down. Don't do it. You'll get arrested. You'll get fined. And it's just the wrong thing to do. I guess if you really want to figure it out that bad, nothing's going to stop you. Nothing that I say is going to stop you. Don't shoot them down, man. If they're harmless, there are lines there you can't cross, even though we want to. Would I want to shoot one down and investigate? Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely. Would I really do it? No, not unless I felt threatened, not unless it was in a spot where it wasn't supposed to be. Just don't do it, okay? That's somebody's very expensive property. Don't take a chance at shooting it and missing and having a stray bullet go flying somewhere. Whatever. Law enforcement is urging you guys in Colorado and Nebraska not to shoot these things down. So just don't do it. Otherwise, they're going to be knocking at your door saying, hey, what are you shooting drones down for? But really, though, I mean, the most mind-boggling thing about this whole situation is that they've been reported night after night. People are filming them every night outside their property, every single night. People have plenty of photos. People have plenty of video. There's plenty of resources out there for you to find out something about these. But the concerning part is that no government agency, no law enforcement agency knows anything about it. No private company who's operated currently or in the past has any knowledge of these or claims any ownership of these drones. So naturally you're left with a question of, what the fuck, dude? It's all really curious and it's all really strange. And I'm going to keep you guys updated as I find out more information, as stories develop, as time goes on. So if you guys find out anything at all about this shit, please reach out to me. Email me, hit me up on Twitter DMs. Find a way to get in touch with me and let me know what's going on. I need to talk to some of you guys about some of this stuff and figure out something. Somebody's going to find out what it is. It's either going to be something or it's either going to be nothing. I wanted this first podcast to roll into something that was kind of a little off the charts and a little off the chain. And we're gonna eventually deep dive into stuff. We're gonna deep dive into true crime. We're gonna deep dive into aliens, ghosts, sightings. We'll talk about Bigfoot. We're gonna talk about everything out there. And I'm gonna try to educate you guys as much as I can along the way, too. It's gonna be a really cool project, and I'm gonna do one of these every week, and I'm going to try to keep these episodes from now on up to an hour at a time. And if I have to go into a part 2 or a part 3 or whatever, that's what I'll do. And we'll just continue it until the series is done on whatever subject it is. I wanted to keep this one short and sweet, right around like 20 or 30 minutes, and I'm almost there at that mark. I'm right in that window. So I'm going to take the rest of this time and tell you guys thank you for listening to the first episode. I know it's not the greatest one, but it's a good start, and you got to start somewhere. So we're going to get it done. Eventually, I'm going to have a website for you guys, so everything that's talked about during the podcast will be in written form, and you'll see some video sources and all that stuff. The website is being built. It is not live because it is expensive, and it's going to be coming out of pocket. So as soon as I can offset those costs with people subbing to the channels, throwing money at the podcast, keeping it alive, I can afford to do those things as time goes on. And I'm going to be really happy to do those things for you guys. You know, it's not just like, hey, give me your money. It's not a money grab and run. It's a, let's raise some funding here from the community so I can do more for you guys. So I can build a website for you guys. So I can work on social media stuff for you guys. So I can build some sweet merch and have some really cool shit roll out for you guys. But I know that's going to take us at least into the first year before we even do that, which is fine. That's perfectly fine. It's all good and well. But I'll do that for you guys, no problem. Happy to do it. And as far as my identity, I'm going to keep that a secret for now. There are a couple close friends of mine out there who are listening to this right now as we speak. They know who I am, but they're not going to give it up, no matter how much money you give them. You'll never figure it out. I'm not going to give away any indicators. I want to keep this thing completely anonymous from start to finish, or at least as long as I can. But I want to make this a really, really awesome podcast for you guys. I hope that you really enjoy it. Thank you for listening to the Conspiracy Files. My name is Zero, and I am out.